All right, so we're going to take you shopping with us to go and find some of the simplest, most affordable tools that you can use at home to start restoring and exploring your natural foot function. And of course, worth noting that there's so much that you can do without any tools at all, and we've got some really great free routines that you can start with. It takes you through some really simple but very effective exercises to just get the feet moving in different ways. So definitely feel free to start there. But if your goal is to build truly resilient and adaptable feet, then you're gonna have to invest in some toys at some point. And that's exactly why we stock our range of TFC training tools, including our Soulmate, especially our Soulmate. That does pretty much the job of all of the things that we're about to go and buy. But we want this approach to foot health to be as accessible as possible, and we don't want the barrier of purchasing a product to stop you from starting to get involved with this and experiencing the benefits and making some progress. So we're going to go shopping. We're going to stop at a department store first in Australia. That big one for us is K-Mart, or one of them, but any old department store will do. And then we're going to go to the hardware store as well. Just go through all of the options that you should consider. Don't get overwhelmed. There's going to be a lot of options. You don't necessarily have to get all of it. You'll very likely have some of these lying around home already. Either way, we'll grab a bunch of stuff and then we'll show you how to use it all. So first stop is K-Mart, which is our big department store, at least one of them. So we'll be getting most things here and then we'll go to the hardware store. All right, first up we got towels. So kind of want a happy medium between not too plush, but not too thin either. Something like that might do. I wonder if there's a green one just for fun. Maybe beggars can't be choosers. Probably also don't go with white. This blue towel will do. $6. $6 was for the mega one. This is actually only $2.50. All right, so a bouncy ball is a good addition. One, because obviously you can do some coordination stuff with it. There's also a really good level of pressure that you can start rolling out your feet as a beginner. Has a lot of give to it, very accessible to start with, very gentle, but you can do a lot of other fun things with it as well. So let's see if there's a green one. Lol, let's go with that. So we're gonna get a block as well, and obviously we love cork. Unfortunately that one is a little too small. It might suit some people's feet, but as a general rule, getting a bigger block, you can probably find them online somewhere, like a mega cork yoga block would be a good option. But for our purposes, we'll just get something from the hardware store. Instead of this, you could also use a tennis ball if you've got one laying around home. Generally, these cheaper tennis balls really don't do the job. You'd probably be more after something a little bit more legit. So if you actually play tennis and you've got some of these hanging around at home and you don't mind kind of ruining the tennis ball if you're stepping on it a lot, then go for it. But otherwise, this one does a really good job and it actually deforms a lot less even when you press on it a lot over time. Yeah, so we were hoping to find some thicker rubber bands here. This looks like as thick as they get for some reason at K-Mart. We've looked up Officeworks, much thicker bands. So we'll just have to go there on another stop and grab some of those. All right, so we're also gonna want a pair of socks. Funnily enough, not to actually use as socks, just to replace a hacky sack. Usually, obviously, I would wear my own socks. I got these good pair of creepers on. Highly recommend getting toe socks, of course, but just out of interest, we've found these low-cut sports socks with cushioned impacted zones. We might just give them a crack, see how they feel anyway. Basically, any low-cut athletic sock is pretty much what you want. So all in all, that was 15 bucks, but really everyone should have a towel and a pair of socks at home. So it's really just $2 for that bouncy ball if you don't have a tennis ball at home. All right, so one of these is what you want. It's basically a bamboo broomstick, nice and hard, and we'll be using that with and without the towel. So we're gonna get a block, basically just a block of timber. This one's about $5 it reckons, which is pretty good. You don't really need it to be that long, and you could probably just cut it in half, but it's nice to just have a flat block of timber to use as a beginner balance beam. Don't really want 3 meters. So this is like the long handrail beam we have at the hub. It's a really long bit, 3 meters, but it's very handy because it's got this rounded, this domed top, which is similar to a soulmate. It's a bit more narrow than a soulmate, but does a really good job of splaying out the metatarsal heads when you stand on it. So worth having something with a curved surface like this, and we're just gonna see if they can chop it up for us. You could probably just cut the rest in half now. That would make it 120 or something. Amazing, thank you. So there's a good haul from the hardware store. They even chopped our dowel broomstick, chopped our blocks, and those two are definitely the most affordable, or like the best places to start, especially if you're not wanting to spend a heap of money. And otherwise, this whole thing was about 120 bucks. Again, they could chop it up. You could end up with a couple of big long beams, a few shorter beams. You could split it with a friend. Really handy to have that surface. And yeah, great little beam. Like I said, we've got one at the hub in the long format, but cool to have some shorter ones now too. So we've got our swag of simple tools, and they're roughly organized into groups such as towels and dowels, balls and bands. I picked up these rubber bands from Officeworks, like a stationary office supplies kind of place. They're a bit long, but they'll do the job. So balls and bands, and then socks and blocks. And they can all be used together to achieve different things in different combinations, but we'll give you a quick demo now. So starting off with the towel, it's definitely one of our favorite tools because it's so accessible. Everyone has one, and it does a really good job of cushioning the feet when we need a bit of that extra cushioning, if we've got really sensitive feet or a certain condition, and you can gradually reduce the cushioning as well. So the towel creates a great platform for a lot of different exercises and balance drills, and when you combine it with the dowel, like so, you can start to get some more pressure tolerance going as well with the feet. And over time, you just unroll it so that you get more and more pressure going through, less and less cushioning. You can put your feet in different positions to create different mobilization effects and obviously different balance effects. It's a really great balance challenge there, and the dowel being in there makes a difference as well. And then over time, as your pressure tolerance improves, you can completely eliminate the towel and do the same thing on that dowel like so, which gets very intense, but is something that you can build up to over time and that you really should build up to over time. Now, balls and bands, similar thing with the ball, especially these bouncy balls or a tennis ball. They have a decent amount of squish in them, so they're actually a really accessible, gentle way to start mobilizing your feet in different positions, especially if you do have those sensitive feet. They can be really good for getting certain coordination drills going. You can obviously be doing bounce catches, getting more task-based with your balance training, which is more fun and more applicable to different aspects of sport and life. And then these bands will essentially do the job of our mini toe resistance bands that come with the Soulmate. And you can be spreading out your toes like that, adding in that little bit of passive splay, which can be really, really helpful. This can also, these ones are quite long, so you could just double up and you might have something similar laying around home. Does have to be a decently thick rubber band though. So socks and blocks, we'll start off with the socks. This is what we usually recommend for people who don't have one of these, one of the hacky sacks or foot sacks. And so these do a great job of making an easier version to practice picking, which is really good for your toe dexterity, and even just doing a lot of those in different combinations with your hip movements is a great way to challenge your balance. You get a bunch of circulation going in the foot as well. And yeah, there's a number of different play-based balance training drills that you can do with the socks. And then those balance training drills become even more challenging and effective when you add a block into the mix. So obviously a flat block like this is going to be the easiest place to start. It is going to be slightly narrow and just gives you that feedback about whether you're standing, are you maintaining your stability on it or not, because you've got that step off. And you can be in different configurations like so. And so this does more or less the job of the Soulmate, although it doesn't have that rounded surface, which is where this one comes in. If you have the budget for that one, obviously these guys are able to cut it for us, which is handy, but it gives you that nice domed surface similar to the Soulmate. If you have the budget for this, you probably also have the budget for this, which is potentially a better portable option and something that you can take around with you and pack away really easily. But if that's not accessible to you for whatever reason, then grabbing something like that from the hardware store is a really good idea and just takes your balance training to the next level. And as you can see here, it does this really great job of splaying out those metatarsal heads and helping build up that transverse arch. And again, different stances and eventually combined with the socks can make for a really fun balance training workout. So a really great bunch of simple tools that have a lot of applications for our foot health and foot function and balance, and accepting the handrail, which we had to buy in that big 3-meter length. All of these you'd easily be able to find under $40, depending on what area you're in. But most of these you should have lying around at home as well, which would make everything obviously a lot more affordable. So in the coming videos, we'll be exploring how to use each combination in more detail and show you how to have a bit of fun with it as well.